Alright guys, just wanted to show you something different here. Anyway, at the back of my property here, right by this fence, which is city property in behind here, and butt up against that pretty much is this swimming pool. It's like a big, like 30-foot above ground swimming pool. But anyway, before I moved here, they had dirt piled up over there. There's still a pretty big mound of it. That was probably from when the pool was put in quite a while back. And I wanted to show you guys what the erosion uncovered back here. I was back here a little while back. I didn't have my camera on me, but the rain uncovered all this. I looked down and I saw this penny here, which looks like it's just zinc. So I don't think any of these are going to be old, but there's one coin. Pan over a little bit. You can see one right there. And another one right beside it right here. All these were uncovered by erosion over time here. These were never visible before. And I raked a lot of debris out of here too, so these would have been well buried quite a while back, but we'll go ahead and take a look at them. I mean, that one's definitely zinc, and from all the chemicals and stuff in the past put in this yard, everything, all the coins are just toast that have come out of here. That's a zinc. That's a clad dime, which that's what I thought it was. And the other one here, it's also another zinc penny. So since there was a bunch of coins back here like that, I may try to swing my detector back up under here. It's something I've never done. Next time I'm out fooling around my yard with it. So, alright. Some finds that are not too far from home. 2 pennies and a dime. You ever hear one of those stories of how people litter their gardens and landscaping with pennies? I can't remember the reasoning for it. I have to look it up. But anyway, I think I found one of those yards. I just dug, well, not dug, they were right on top. All the coins in my pouch there just came off the surface in this landscaping. And look at this, there's just hundreds and hundreds of coins. I've read about people doing this before, putting them in their gardens and stuff. Like I said, I can't remember the reasoning, but they're everywhere. I can see one up here, so heck, I guess I'll sift through this and get as many as I can. This is gonna be nuts. A lot of them are coppers, a lot of them are zincs. I saw some from the late 80s. I'm not sure how far they go up, but look, there's one by my leg. It's just nuts. So I'm gonna start scooping these up, and I'll keep them separate, see how many we get. I'm gonna be here all day if I try to find all these. My goodness. The garden penny hoard. This is just nuts. Okay, anyhow, this is what I was talking about. Why a reason some people put pennies in their garden, which doesn't really work to the effect that some people think it does. If you really think about it, if you're using copper pennies to keep slugs out, you're basically just creating a maze for them if you're not putting them in any uniform manner and just tossing them in your garden. But anyway, this is an interesting article here, a thorough article about slugs in copper and why they may not cross it. Goes in showing slugs, and there's like a slug turning back when it comes up against copper tape. There's some YouTube's video there. It's pretty interesting. Basically, to make a long story short, the conclusion here was that slugs will sometimes go out of their way to avoid crossing copper, but if they have to, they will go over it. And then it talks about the chemicals and different reactions in here, about how they might get a slight electric shock for crawling over the copper and different things. So anyway, I know this is one reason why people put copper pennies in their gardens and stuff like that, and especially copper tape like this around planters. So it's pretty interesting. But anyhow, if this was the intended use of all the pennies that I found in that old landscaping, the funny thing is a lot of them were zinc. So if they were thrown in there with the intent to rid slugs, the people that threw them in there were not aware that pennies newer than 1982 or zinc. So I'll show what I found here in a second. I just wanted to show that to you guys. If any of you are interested in reading through this article and watching the videos, it's actually quite intriguing. I'm going to go ahead and post this link in the description. Okay, briefly here before today's wrap up, since it was really late last night and I was just trying to get that all finished, I overlooked a few things and I wanted to do a follow-up on the gold pocket watch that I found. Unfortunately, I cleaned it up and it's just a gold-filled piece. Obviously, when I dug this and rubbed this and it came that clean after digging it at 8 inches, I assumed it was going to be gold the whole way through. But if I would have just paid attention last night and just looked for a second at the other side where the gears sort of jabbed into this, over time, I would have saw that there's a few deep spots in there where obviously you can tell it's not solid gold the whole way through. But anyhow, I was able to scrub this off enough to see that it says Wadsworth Referee, warranted 20 years. Referee is basically the grade of gold, and in this case it is gold filled, which is basically just an extremely thick gold plating. And Wadsworth was a company that was purchased by Elgin in 1953. So this watch would have been pre-1953, from the design of the watch, and also the fact that it was found with a buffalo nickel for various reasons. I couldn't find this exact one, but I believe it to be from roughly around the 1920s. But anyhow, a few interesting things too. I was thinking about it. I didn't do a lot of the detective work last night, but the fact that this was found in the hole up against a buffalo nickel in this rivet too. Somebody commented on the video. I'll actually just go ahead and put their username in the description as a shout out, just so I don't leave them out. But anyway, I agreed with him completely. I was thinking something on the lines of this myself. I just didn't mention in the video. But the fact that this rivet was up against like the buffalo nickel in the pocket watch, it seems like it's possible, because this is a lady's watch, a small lady's watch also, which would kind of support this theory, I guess, that it's possible that it was some sort of old coin purse that was dropped and the purse itself deteriorated away except for like this little metallic rivet. So just a guess. Anyway, that's the buffalo nickel there that was found in the hole with the pocket watch. All three of these items were pretty much in the same area in the hole, which is quite interesting. Okay, so I wanted to wrap that up. Secondly, it was so late and I had so much to do that I didn't even realize that it was my first ever nickel trifecta. I got the V-nickel, the buffalo nickel, and the silver war nickel. Of course, you don't count the modern ones. I did find modern nickels too, so that doesn't quite make a grand slam though. Normally you would only count the old ones, like if I found a shield nickel too or something. But I was really happy with that. And third, this here turns out to be from what I can tell from the markings here, and a shout out to Al Fu for giving me a link that gave me a little more information on this. This appears to be a year 29, which translates into 1940. And it's a Chinese, I didn't do the dimensions, but it's either a 1 fen or a 2 fen. It's pretty large, so I think this is a 2 fen coin. But it dates back to 1940. And like I said, I believe it's bronze. I don't remember. I looked at that. So really happy to have that. This specific one here, the year 29 ones, are pretty common, so it's worth less than $1, but that's just for reference. I don't really care. I love to have any kind of find like that. Also, I thought this was cool to show yesterday. I didn't show in the wrap-up. I found me some tear gas. CS tear gas / red pepper personal defense spray. Expired in January of 2011. Active ingredients: CS military tear gas, Alea resin, capsicum, which is red pepper, plus UV dye. So I thought that was pretty neat. Anyway, it was empty when I found it, but it was barely under the surface. Actually, it might not have been even the whole way. So anyway, let's get to today's finds. I just basically did an hour hunt in a really small front yard, maybe like 6 by 6 yards, 7 by 7, something like that. Pretty small. But I do have some other leads from it, and sometimes it seems like they're going to allow me to hunt the backyard. They just didn't want me to go back there because they let the dogs out and it's all fenced in. But I have a few leads possible from the location I hunted here. But anyway, there was hardly anything in this yard as far as the actual yard itself go. You'll see the different story here with the landscaping. But I got, for clad, all I got was 2 modern nickels. And then from there, I ended up with 3 wheat pennies. One which was really deep in ring and like iron. I almost didn't dig it, and it was my second pattern over the yard. But anyway, the 3 wheats, I got a 44 plain, a 1938 plain, which was the deep one, and we got another surprise. Yesterday I dug a 17S, and this one I had to really scrub at it. But this one's a 1916S, which is slightly uncommon. If it were in collectible condition, just clean, even if it was really worn, it'd be worth a couple bucks, but or something around $2, something like that. But in this condition, it's really not worth, much. Even if you cleaned it up, scrubbed it real good, it might be worth a quarter or something. But really happy to have that. I don't think I've dug a 16S before, so that was a surprise. Not sure why all these S Mint coins are jumping out at me all of a sudden. But anyway, what I'm going to show here in a second is the pennies that I found in the landscaping in about 5 minutes. 5 minutes of just mainly picking up surface pennies. Not even doing really any of the digging and using the probe, and there were still signals littered everywhere. Here you go. These are all the pennies I dug. They're not dug, pretty much picked up. There were so many of them, they were just littered all over the surface, and obviously there's tons under the surface. But those are all of the copper pennies that I just pulled out in about 5 minutes, maybe a few more minutes. It was between 5 and 10 minutes, definitely no more than 10. It's a total of 90 pennies. The oldest one here, I don't have it sorted out, it's in there somewhere. You can see a couple older ones like 64D. There is a 1961D in here somewhere. And I know that the newest one I was able to find is a 2010, which would lead me to believe that all these pennies were thrown in the landscaping there back in 2010, which would be my best guess. Because normally, even if you go to the bank and get this many pennies, you're going to find at least a couple brand new ones mixed in. So the fact that 2010 is the newest one, that would be my guess of when these were put in there. So 4 years old. But like I said, there's tons more there. So if I go back, I'll try to get more of them out. And the funny thing is there was a dime in there as well. 68D. So kind of funny. Ended up with 90 pennies and 1 dime. So it was $1 even. So that was my bizarre hunt today. 3 wheats, 2 modern nickels, and then all this out of the landscaping. It was pretty bizarre. But hey, you gotta take whatever story the ground wants to tell. And I was real happy with this hunt. It was kind of exciting seeing all those coins just laying around. So thanks guys for watching. Take care. Happy hunting.